Tonight, a 6-day lockdown set to hit South Australia with a raft of new restrictions, leading to panic buying and long lines once again in local supermarkets.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. South Australia is facing hard lockdowns in a bid to stem a second wave of coronavirus. Even here in the Spencer Gulf, people are being told to be careful and stay at home. We turn now to our reporter Nathan Rector, who has been following the developments. Nathan, talk us through the lockdown.
Well, Ruby, these are unprecedented times. In just a few hours, the whole of SA will be in lockdown. Non-essential services are being told to stand down, while many of us are being told to stay at home. These moves will no doubt have major ramifications. Shoppers thrown into a frenzy. Port Lincoln residents stocking up on the essentials ahead of tonight's lockdown.
We can and we must rise to this challenge. And rise we are, each and every one of us, united with a common purpose to beat this silent enemy.
Similar scenes across the region, bottle shops bursting at capacity, cars banged up on roads causing traffic headaches.
I've got to get some drinks, mate, because it doesn't look too good. It looks like it might be dry for a while.
Can't hurt to be cautious, I don't think. So, yeah, I think it'll be fine.
The news comes as a shock, seeing this reaction despite supermarkets staying open, but plenty of other services will shut down in just hours. From midnight, all schools, universities, pubs, cafes, elective surgeries, outdoor sport, aged care, factories, weddings and funerals all forced to close or not operate. Regional travel will be banned and masks will become mandatory in all areas outside the home. Our Premier firm and staying calm despite the statewide chaos, saying the moves are a preemptive strike to stay ahead of the growing cluster.
We cannot wait to see how bad this becomes. We must act swiftly and decisively on the health advice to stay ahead of the game.
A bit frustrated, but it's for a good cause. So.
Today, there's been 2 new COVID cases in South Australia, all within Adelaide. Anger building across our region. Many frustrated country communities are also included in the lockdown. Do you think it's fair the region's getting shut down as well?
No.
Why is that?
Because we're safe.
Services to remain open include supermarkets, medical centres, public transport, airports, petrol stations, post offices, vets and end-of-life visits. The unprecedented move means people will be restricted from leaving their homes for the next 6 days. Exercise outside the home will be banned and only one person will be allowed to leave the home for the essentials.
But this is the busiest I've seen. I was crazy. I was laughing my head off.
Police keeping a close watch on crowds this afternoon with tempers reaching boiling point. Members of the hospitality industry taking a swipe at the government, saying regional businesses shouldn't have to close.
Not at all. That's not fair. Not fair at all.
It's a tough kick in the guts for many eateries who say they just bounced back from the first wave. But the Premier says it's crucial to not follow in the footsteps of other states. 22 cases are now directly linked to the known cluster, while another further 7 are suspected.
We are very early at the beginning of this, and we have a very, very short window of opportunity to close it down and stamp it out in our community.
An anxious week ahead as the safe state now battles another pandemic. The message loud and clear: do the right thing.
I acknowledge that these restrictions will be challenging for South Australia, but we can and we must follow the expert health advice to keep South Australia safe and strong.
Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
South Australian teachers are starting to worry, with schools also set to shut their doors for the next 6 days. Students will be required to stay home tomorrow onwards, with strict exemptions for children of essential workers. Aged care facilities will also be in complete lockdown.
Schools set to shut, causing stress across the region. The first lockdown saw classes go ahead, but today's announcement revealed students will be sent home for 6 days after the bell. While a principal, Damien Judd, says despite the drastic changes, teachers were prepared.
Take it that it is what it is. We kind of have always prepared for that. We've always been ready in the background that all the closure stuff has still been sitting there on the website. Staff get the reminders and finally, and probably sadly, it did happen today.
Skeleton staff will keep the doors open for vulnerable students and those with parents as essential workers. Many schools across the regions hosting an emergency assembly. Port Pirie teachers say communication with students is essential for them to understand the drastic changes.
Yeah, it's really important that we are open and honest with our students, because what we know is that when they know more, they are more regulated and they are more calm. So we want to set them up for success throughout this time as well.
That's also the strong message being sent to parents and caregivers to remain calm during a rocky end to the school year.
Keeping people calm, and I think most schools and students have done that.
Aged care facilities will also be in lockdown from midnight tonight to not only protect residents but also essential workers. Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Meanwhile, residents across the Spencer Gulf have flocked to nearby supermarkets and bottle shops following the announcement of the state's restrictions. People were lining up to get inside and chaos erupted with shelves stripped of essential items.
Controlled panic erupting at local shops following the Premier's COVID-19 announcement. Tensions high as shoppers were eager to get inside, stocking up on necessary items ahead of the statewide lockdown.
No food in the house. I was meant to go food shopping on Friday, so we've got 2 little kids. I need to get some snacks in the house for them.
There's not much we can do about it. They've introduced these tough restrictions and we have to stick with it. That's it.
Queues also forming at local bottle shops.
Coles and Woolies too, if you can get in there. They're pretty full at the moment too. So yeah, it's pretty hectic everywhere.
Port Augusta Mayor Brett Bembo asking the community to remain calm.
What I ask people to do is, if you are shopping, I understand there's a lot of people out there trying to get stocks of food. Please show respect for each other. Look at the quota you're buying.
Issuing a strong message to locals and surrounding regions.
Just ask people to approach the situation calmly. What's been put in place is to ensure that we are successful as we were last time.
As you can see behind me here, residents rushed to the nearest supermarket following the state's new COVID-19 restrictions that will come into effect at midnight.
The restrictions are expected to be in place for at least the next 6 days. Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Today's other news still to come tonight, with a missing Wallaroo kayaker found alive and well, and a Whyalla local arrested, now facing firearm charges. Welcome back. Passengers on board the Garn had their travel plans thrown into chaos following the new border closures sparked by Adelaide's COVID cluster. The passenger train was already in the Northern Territory en route to Darwin when our borders closed. Our reporter Katrina Musson has more.
More than 200 passengers aboard the Ghan passed through here at Port Augusta yesterday, returning to Adelaide after it was turned away from Alice Springs.
It comes after the iconic passenger train departed Adelaide, now deemed a COVID-19 hotspot amid the state's second outbreak. In a statement, railway operator Journey Beyond confirmed the service had already crossed the border when restrictions were announced, leading to the Northern Territory Health Department ordering the Ghan to turn around. Also saying there were no suspected or confirmed cases on board, and guests were given the option to disembark in Alice Springs and quarantine for 14 days or stay on board and return to Adelaide. SA Health says health alerts are currently in place for locations around Adelaide and encourages people who may be at risk to monitor symptoms and get tested.
Journey Beyond says it will work closely with South Australian and Northern Territory authorities following all recommendations.
Turning to today's other news now, and a 20-year-old kayaker has been found safe and well following a desperate search at Wallaroo yesterday afternoon. Just after 3 o'clock, it was reported to authorities a single-person kayak had been spotted floating in the water. Emergency services and police helicopters searched the area. The kayaker was found after he swam to the Wallaroo boat ramp just after 6 o'clock. Investigations have continued into a vehicle fire in Broken Hill overnight. Crews responded to the blaze at 11 p.m. on Wentworth Road, arriving to the car fully alight. Authorities say the fire was quickly extinguished, with quick action stopping it from spreading to surrounding bushland. A Far North man has been reported for a number of traffic offences after being stopped in Coober Pedy. Shortly after 7 p.m. on Saturday, police pulled over a vehicle after checks revealed the car was unregistered and uninsured. The disqualified driver also allegedly returned a blood alcohol reading of 0.193 and received an instant loss of licence. His car was also impounded for 28 days. He will face court at a later date. Meanwhile, a 37-year-old man has been arrested and charged with a raft of firearm offences following a search at a Whyalla home yesterday. It's the second alleged firearm offender caught by Whyalla police in less than 1 week of each other. Our reporter Sophia Contagonis has more.
Police attended a home in Whyalla Stuart yesterday at around 12 in the afternoon following an investigation.
Police had cause to search a home under the Firearms Act where they located a firearm and ammunition.
A 37-year-old man from the Whyalla Stuart address was arrested. He was charged with allegedly possessing a firearm insecurely and without a licence and possessing ammunition. He was refused bail and appeared in the Whyalla Magistrates Court yesterday. Police say it's extremely important to register all firearms.
Firearms are inherently dangerous and heavily regulated in Australia, so for this reason they must be registered.
It's the second firearms offence in less than a week, with Whyalla Police seizing a number of firearms from a different address on Friday.
A 45-year-old Whyalla Playford man was arrested and charged with a series of firearms offences related to last Friday's search.
Anyone with any information regarding an unregistered firearm is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Whyalla's Deputy Mayor re-voted. We chat to him about what his plans are for the future. And new members appointed to the UniHub Spencer Gulf Board. Hello again. A popular member of the Whyalla community has been reappointed Deputy Mayor of City Council for the next term. At Monday night's annual meeting, staff voted Phil Stone back into the position following a successful year.
This Deputy Mayor excited to be filling the role yet again.
Very humbled that the rest of the council are quite happy with what I've done for the past year.
Working for council for more than 35 years, Phil says it's his love for the city that makes him want to continue the job.
My whole reason for getting onto council originally and then being very happy to be appointed Deputy Mayor was for no other reason just to serve Whyalla.
Mr Stone also spending his time volunteering for Whyalla's Royal Flying Doctor Service support group.
Pretty well takes up most of my time. I'm just one of a good bunch of people that are dedicated to raising funds for the Flying Doctor to make sure those services are already around here.
His highlights of the past year, opening a multi-million-dollar jetty and Bennett Oval.
We do a lot of work behind the scenes, analysing information that comes before us to make decisions, and all I want to do is be part of that.
In a statement, Whyalla's Mayor Claire McLaughlin says she commends Councillor Stone on his appointment, which shows recognition of hard work and commitment to the role.
Despite COVID, I believe we do have an exciting future ahead. We have big challenges. We have a lot of infrastructure that in Whyalla is now 50, 60 years old.
The Deputy Mayor says his next focus is Whyalla's airport upgrade and school developments. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
New members have been appointed to the UniHub Spencer Gulf's board for the next 3 years. Port Augusta's Jane McKnight says she is excited to bring her professional skills to the educational institution.
Welcoming a familiar face to the UniHub board. Port Augusta local Jane McKnight is one of the newest members, bringing her professional experience in accounting, finance, business management, IT and marketing to the table.
I'm quite excited by it. I've been involved with boards at a health level, so interested to see how it works in this sort of sector.
She says she aims to use her skills to assist students with achieving their future study goals and local employment opportunities.
So being on the board, I guess it's offering that insight from our sector, and obviously any sort of other things we can offer on the way.
Jane will join former Port Pirie resident Reg Dennis, along with York and Northern Local Health Network CEO Roger Kirchner, who has been appointed for another term.
We're really excited to have our new board members coming onto the UniHub board, and with their strong community connections, they're really welcomed by the staff, by students and by our community.
The new appointments will complete the UniHub's board.
Board members will officially take up their new roles in January for a 3-year term, and that is a really great a set of additional skills and experience to join our existing team.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Nathan Rector will bring us the latest prices at the Bowser, and we'll have all the weather details with Alex. Welcome back. Time now to see how things are shaping up at the petrol pump. Here's Nathan Rector with this week's Fuel Watch.
It's fairly good news as we head into the festive season, with fuel prices seeing a slight drop over the past 7 days. Starting with unleaded, and here in Port Lincoln we're averaging $1.16 a litre. Whyalla has stayed the same on $1.15. Up north and in Port Augusta we're seeing a 1 cent drop down to $1.18, while Port Pirie is the only centre to see a rise, now averaging $1.15. Kadina and Broken Hill have both stayed the same, $1.17 and $1.23 a litre. Adelaide remains the cheapest for unleaded, sitting on $1.10, a 5 cent drop from last week. Moving over to diesel now, and it's relatively good news. Port Lincoln and Whyalla are averaging $1.15 a litre, while Port Augusta is sitting on $1.16. Port Pirie remains the same on $1.14, while Kadina has seen a 2 cent jump in price, averaging $1.18 a litre. Broken Hill remains the same on $1.25, while Adelaide sits on $1.07 a litre. Moving over to Autogas, and Port Lincoln has seen a jump to 92 cents a litre. Whyalla and Port Augusta remain the same, 87 and 89 cents. Port Pirie is averaging 83 cents, while Kadina and Broken Hill are on 89 and 83 cents. Finally, Adelaide is sitting on 68 cents a litre. Now remember, these prices are the regional averages and do not reflect any one particular outlet. And if you do find a spot that does sell unleaded, diesel or autogas for cheaper, make sure to let us know on our Facebook page.
Time to take a look now at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex.
Thanks, Ruby. Mainly fine conditions across the region. From 3 p.m. today, Port Lincoln got to a high of 29 degrees, Woodner a max of 36, Broken Hill reached a top of 32 degrees. Looking across the rest of the region now, Whyalla got to a top of 35, Port Lincoln a high of 29, Broken Hill 32, Port Pirie, Kadina, Cleve, all a max of 34 degrees, Cooper Pedy reaching 37, Port Augusta 36, Adelaide partly cloudy and a high of 31. To the satellite now, thick cloud crossing western SA with a trough is triggering isolated showers and thunderstorms. High cloud moving over the east ahead of the trough is not producing rain, clearer in the northeast under a ridge of high pressure. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Winds northeasterly 10 to 15 knots, seas around 1 metre, with south to southwesterly swells around 1 metre. Port Lincoln sunny and a top of 27 degrees. Cleve and Woodner both mostly sunny and a max of 35. Very hot and windy in Whyalla, a top of 38 degrees. Port Augusta similar conditions reaching a high of 40. Kadina cloud clearing and a top of 34. Port Pirie very hot and a top of 38. Clare partly cloudy and a max of 35, and Broken Hill hot and sunny 39 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, mainly fine conditions on Friday, a top of 41 in Cooper Pedy, a max of 32 degrees in Port Augusta, 27 in Whyalla, Port Lincoln to reach a top of 21, Broken Hill 35, Port Pirie a max of 31, Kadina a high of 28 degrees, Adelaide a top of 27. Conditions heating up further on Saturday, 40 in Cooper Pedy, Port Augusta set to reach a high of 41, Woodner cloudy and a top of 37, Whyalla 36 degrees, Port Lincoln showers set to reach a high of 25, Broken Hill and Port Pirie both 39 degrees, Kadina 35, Adelaide to reach a high of 33. Showers forecast across most of the region on Sunday. Cooper Pedy partly cloudy, a top of 34 degrees. Port Augusta, Whyalla and Port Pirie all set to reach a maximum temperature of 30 degrees. Broken Hill partly cloudy, a top of 32. Port Lincoln set to reach a high of 26. Adelaide and Kadina both set to get to a high of 29. So more hot weather tomorrow, but Ruby, a cool change is on the way towards the end of the weekend. That's all the weather from me tonight. It's back to you.
And that's the local news this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.